Blog Talk Radio.
Everyone, stop! The show's about to start.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of No Conduct Radio. I do apologize if I sound kind of muffled, but right now I'm on my cell phone because good old Blog Talk Radio was having technical difficulties. So the show must go on, and I'm on my cell phone. So tonight we are only joined by Logic. It's Kai and Logic show tonight because our other two hosts flaked on us. They should be back next week, hopefully. They haven't been fired. We'll have to talk about it if they've been fired. But tonight we are going to pass questions that have been asked specifically for Logic, and we're going to play Ask Logic. But before we do that, we're going to talk about Trump. Yay, good old Trump, and how he's been failing us yet again. For what, this past week? We're not even going to talk about his whole term, which has only been 6 months. We're just going to talk about the past week. So that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. Logic, how's it going?
Everything is everything, man. Just chilling.
I have a question. What the hell does everything is everything mean?
What is it? I don't know. It just basically means that everything is fine, or everything is going to be what it is. You know, I don't really know. What's that?
Is that like only like a Philly saying or something?
I don't know who says it. I say it. I never paid attention to if other people say it. I think I've heard it before from other people, but I can't really say that I've really taken the time to consider how many people use that term. I don't know.
I've only heard it up here. I haven't heard it in the South, and of course I've never been out to the West. So I don't know. Our West Coast listeners, if y'all say everything is everything, let me know. But I've only heard it here. I lived in Jersey. I heard it in South Jersey, which is pretty much they just take their stuff from Philly anyway. So I've heard it in South Jersey, which might as well be Philly. And I've only heard it here. That's about it.
I don't think I've heard that in L.A. when I was out there. I don't think I've heard it.
What is it? Do they have their own slang out there?
Oh, absolutely. Every area does. I mean, Chicago says things that we don't. The South, it's pretty much blocks. Like Texas has their own thing, but like that whole Louisiana and Tennessee and Alabama, they kind of had the same kind of slang. And then Florida does its own thing. Georgia, I would say Georgia and the Carolinas kind of talk the same. And then it's pretty much, honestly, it's all the same up until like mid-Virginia. Then from Northern Virginia up, they kind of have this mesh between D.C. and Baltimore slang. And then from Delaware up, it's like Philly slang. And then from Central Jersey on up to New York, it's like all New York type slang. And then it changes again when you get to Boston.
Boston. But speaking of Virginia, oh my gosh, I know you sleep a lot. Well, not a lot, but I know you sleep during the day and everything like that. But have you heard what's going on in Virginia, or what happened in Virginia? Let me put it that way.
You talking about them taking down the monuments and stuff?
Yeah, and the protest with
Yeah,
the
of course.
protest with, what do they call it, the alt-right or whatever? Which is just a really cleaned up version of saying the KKK.
Yeah, the so-called alternative right is, I mean, all of those, if you go overseas, it's the same thing. They don't call themselves alt-right. They call themselves something else, but it's all the same mission statement. It's European white people saying that they're being pushed out and other so-called races are coming in, and they're basically they're screaming that, like, that victimhood, like, oh, this is happening to us and we have to push back. But it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense.
Well, I was going to say victimhood of what?
Well,
what
the victimhood of they're taking our jobs. Like here, they're talking about Mexicans. Over in Europe, they're talking about refugees taking their jobs. But if you're working, how do you have time to march and go to another city and carry torches? You're not working. Obviously, you're not working. So you don't have a job because you don't have a job. Now, when you have, I don't know how it is in Europe, but here, let's say Mexican people, if you want to focus on them. I mean, there's more immigrants than them, but if Mexicans are fleeing Mexico, it's not because they want to come here and deal with this racism. You know what I mean? It's the situation that they're living in is crazy. What part of Mexico they're from is obviously ridiculous. It's war-torn. So they're trying to get out of there and have a better life. Now, that being said, I understand people saying that, well, they need to go about it the proper way. All right, whatever. That's fine. But it's as if that the average American would want to, like in the Southwest, a lot of those Mexican people are either working construction for half the price. So let's say a construction guy will get $20-something an hour. A lot of those, undocumented workers are getting, less than 10. So who's going to be out in the sun helping build houses or whatever for less than $10 an hour? What American do you know is going to want to do that job for that minuscule amount of money? They're not. They're not going to do it. When it comes to a lot of those farms and stuff that they have in Southern California, again, who's going to be out in the field all day, sitting literally in the dirt and pulling spinach and whatever they're doing out there for pennies on the dollar? That's back-breaking labor, because you have to get up in the tree and cut the fruit down with a knife. And there is no machine that does that. That's still done by hand. Who's doing that? What conventional American do you know that's doing that job for less than 10, with no health care, with no nothing? It's just, and then sometimes, right? And then sometimes those landowners don't pay them because they tell them, oh well, the diesel prices this week has been high, so we have to pay you. Now, who do you know is going to really show up for work the next day? But those people do it because they don't have any other options. They have to do that. And if you don't do what these people want you to do, then they'll report you to INS, and then you'll get shipped back home. So they know exactly what kind of position that you're in, and they use that. And the funny thing is, this is like a direct mirror image of what slavery was. Because in the South, all of these people that fly these rebel flags talking about, the South, slavery was actually hurting the majority of white people in the South, because if a rich landowner or a rich business owner had slaves that all he had to do was pay them in food, right? Why would he hire some poor white man to do the same job and have to actually pay him money? So there was a lot of white people that were just not getting work because there were slaves around to do that work for free. But they don't look at it like that. They're so caught up on the white supremacy of it that, well, at least I wasn't a slave. So it doesn't matter on whether or not these rich business owners didn't care about you dying off and you losing your house and you not being able to put food on your table. They didn't care because they were making money, and it's the same thing it is now. This is the reason Apple, Nike, and all of these other companies are using Chinese slave labor or Sri Lankans or whoever is going to do it for a fraction of the cost. They're going to do that. This is why there's no more manufacturing jobs. It's not that this president did this or did that, and this is the reason that no president can control what any company does. They can't. No president in this country can control the capitalist system. So every time they try to blame or give credit to a president for making jobs, that's nonsense, because presidents don't control jobs. Government don't control jobs. The only thing they can do is put tariff taxes on products that are being made overseas and being brought back here and being sold for full price. You know what tariffs are?
No.
Okay. Just to make it simple, let's say Microsoft was still making like a bunch of computers, right? And they had a manufacturing operation all over the country. And let's say it was cheaper for them to go to Honduras. So they shut down all of their warehouses, opened up a bunch in Honduras, and they're only paying the Honduran people like $10 a day. And they're still churning out the same laptops that they're bringing them back here and selling them for $1,500 or whatever. So if the company saved, I don't know, $800 in manufacturing costs, then when they try to bring it back in the country to sell it, the government would tax them $800. You know what I mean? So that way, the money that they save will be canceled out, which would give them an incentive to you might as well just keep it here. You know what I mean? Because they're paying for the transportation and everything. So no country that doesn't have tariffs, if you're a country that doesn't have tariffs, you're not going to survive, because you're just going to bleed out slowly. And that's exactly what's happened to the country. That's why the debt ceiling keeps going up and up and up. But then you have Republicans trying to say that it's welfare or Planned Parenthood or whatever these social services that we have set up. Oh, this is the problem. It's not the problem. It's the military-industrial complex, and it's them not taxing these rich multinational corporations what they should be taxed on. That's why we're going under. It's not black people. It's not Mexicans. It's not Syrians or whoever else, what other brown people that they want to blame it on. It's the government is corrupt, and those are largely rich white people that are doing it. And I'm not saying white on a racial level, because I believe a black billionaire, whatever, would do the same thing. But I'm specifically pointing out the white because these white supremacists think that it's not white people that are doing this to them. It was the black president that did this to them, and they're not understanding that Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, and all these other guys who are billionaires running the show, they're making money, and they're white. They're doing that to themselves. So they just need to drop the racism, but that's never going to happen because that's the only thing that they're clinging on to.
Well, they're not going to, that's what I was going to say, they're not going to drop the racism. Even basically our own president is racist as crap. Did you know he's currently basically defending the Confederate statues, saying that, this is part of our history. Why are you defacing our beautiful country by taking down these statues? And he is essentially siding with the racists out there. So I also want to point out, when he finally came out with his statement on what's going on in Virginia, when he finally came out with his statement, it was like 2 days later or something like that. I think his daughter came out with a statement before he did. But when he finally came out with his statement, he said this, he was blaming it on both sides, which was completely I couldn't listen to his statement after that. I couldn't listen to it after that. And so after that, he came back because I guess everybody was jumping on him. Because actually, everybody, politicians around the world are jumping on him. I think he's had, 2 to 3 people quit his cabinet already, and he's now trying to come out and say it was all his idea that they're quitting. So when all this happened, so he got backlash from his statement, he came back and was trying to say, well, I like to have the facts first before I make a statement. Like, my first question was, when do you ever like to have facts first before you make a statement? That's your whole platform of not having facts before you open your mouth. So that was bullshit. And then I think another day went by, and he said something else. And then now it's, why are we defacing our country? Because we're taking down these statues. That's what's dividing our country. That's what he's saying now. So I don't even know about that.
Well, yeah, he was trying to compare. He was saying that, there were people on the anti-fascist side who were, they came there with clubs and shields and blah, 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 which I didn't see any anti-fascist people with clubs and shields. But let's say they did. But he was saying, so it's, it's all the same. So he was basically saying that they were no different than the supremacists that were showing up, and they were no different than, essentially the part of the group of the guy that killed the woman. They're one and the same. One is not any more rational or better than the other in his assessment. He also then said, well, what about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, because they were slave owners, and so are we going to take their statues down? But what annoys me about press people is they don't challenge. In my opinion, they don't challenge him enough, because I don't understand why no one had the forethought to say, you're comparing apples and oranges. George Washington and Jefferson, yes, were both slave-owning people, which I believe was, how much, that was like 100 years earlier, right? Something like that. The Revolutionary War. And, so it was like a totally different time period. But not rationalizing, I'm just saying it doesn't apply to it. The one set was fighting for freedom from the crown of England. The other skirmish was the reason that the Union had the issue wasn't about slavery. They made it about slavery later. But the only reason that the Confederates were fighting were to keep slavery. So how does that apply to Jefferson and Washington, which were fighting for a totally different cause in a totally different time for a totally different reason? You know what I mean? So it's like none of them said anything. They just sat there and let him spew that horse shit and just didn't say anything. They were just like, well, so just so we understand, why are they not checking this guy? But, freedom of the press is anyway, because if you start to get too much of a whatever, they'll just kick you out. So there is no real freedom of the press, because he'll just be done with it and walk away. There's no holding his feet to the fire, and he's too much of an immature person to deal with that in a rational way. You know what I mean?
I was going to say there's some rumors that he is close to resigning, probably by fall. And if not resignation, then if not resignation, then he is, I think it's 6 Senate votes away from impeachment, which doesn't look good for him because people on both sides are leaving him. The Republicans and the Democrats are just, the Republicans are turning their back on him, especially after this last thing here. Nobody wants anything to do with him. So they're trying to say that either A, he will resign very soon, or he might get impeached. Now, the alt-right, quote-unquote, a lot of people from that side have said that if Trump is impeached, they're basically going to start a civil war.
Well, they're not. At first, I think it's all, again, grandiose, bullshit that the alt-right always talks. They're not going to go to civil war. They're not going to the National Guard. It's not happening. I don't even think it would get to the National Guard level. I mean, just your average agent of DEA and ATF and U.S. Marshals, they won't be able to deal with them. You know what I mean? It's a totally different animal when you're talking about that level. That goes to the alt-right too. This idea that they think that Trump is going to resign, I don't know why people would even think that that's a possibility. His arrogance alone will prevent him from admitting defeat, or that he's not, I don't want to do this anymore. He's not going to do that to himself. He's going to keep at it. It doesn't matter if everyone, if the entire country hates him, he's still not going to resign. Impeachment, which I don't believe is going to happen. And even in that impeachment, he will say what he would have said if he didn't win the presidency. He would have been like, this country is a bunch of losers and you weren't ready for a president that really knows what it is. You know what I mean? He's still going to make it that he's the winner because that's how narcissistic he is. He would not be able to accept the defeat is his. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say something slightly similar, I guess. The only reason I would see that he would resign was to probably go down in history. Wouldn't he be the first president who did that?
Yeah, but you're talking about a mark of shame. It's not a mark of, it's not a positive attribute.
But he might, he might spin it to his benefit, I'm resigning because, you said, y'all aren't ready for me or whatever.
If he was willing to spin that, then he would admit that back in the late 90s, he lost all his family's money, and that through a business maneuver, he was able to recall some of that money through government means. But he won't admit that because then that would make him look like a bad businessman who was unable to keep a hold on his money, which that actually happened. That was real. You can look that up. He really did lose his money around, I think it was I want to say 2000. And the New Jersey Gaming Board and the governor's office stepped in and kind of pressured his investors to give him a loan. They basically forced his investors to give him a loan and give him a chance to try to pay that money back because they were making so much money off of his casino. And he had to sell his rights in the casino, and now there's another company that's running all of his properties. And so basically the Trump name is just a name that they've licensed, like Nike. It'll be another person that makes the thing and then puts Trump on it. And so he, this idea that he has, businesses that he's not running them. That's why they're successful. It's the same thing with that. What was that golf course, Mar-a-Lago? It's a development company that built that, and they're running that. It's his name. That's all it is.
It's just amazing how even if you point out all the facts you laid out to the Trump supporters in black and white, they're still not going to agree. They just put on blinders. It's freaking amazing. I've never seen anything like it. But they just won't agree that.
They won't agree. They won't agree.
I was going to say, they just won't agree that Trump is not a successful businessman. He shouldn't have been president. That's like putting me in the presidency. I know nothing of politics. You would be a better president than me. I know nothing of politics. Like you said, those tariff taxes, I know nothing of it. Just take me and make me president. I'm going to run the country into the ground because I don't know what I'm doing.
But see, that's the thing. None of them do. None of them do. Like, I think presidents stopped being presidents maybe around the time of Bjorn. That might have been the last one. Maybe, and I hate to reference this guy because he's a racist, but maybe even Andrew Jackson. And I say this because he tried to shut down what at that was called the Federal Bank, or the First American Bank. It was basically the predecessor to the Federal Reserve. But it's basically what the Federal Reserve is, which is a private bank that sells money to the nation. He saw that was only going to lead to the nation being constantly in debt, and he did everything he could to destroy it, and he did it. He made it. He got rid of the bank, disbanded it around the last time we really had real presidents that were thinking about nation stuff. All the rest of them, they're just lawyers. Not even the people, because, again, he didn't care about half the people. It was just stuff that where the nation is going to be at its best. But every president I can think of, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, they're all just business people, or they're all, lackeys that are going to do what they're told because the bankers are going to tell them what to do for whatever works best for them. And this mania that you see in the Trump support, the same mania that you saw with black people when it came to Barack Obama. You got black people today still think that he was the best president and he did something for the people that helped us. But then if you ask them, well, what did he do? Exactly. Point out something he did that we're better off now than before he got in. And they can't tell you anything. It's just, it's this whole thing of they just like a guy because they think the guy is like them. And that's the wrong reason. And the whole problem with this nation is not Trump, it's not Obama, it's not, the senators. It's the people. The people are not taking their politics seriously. They're not checking to see what these politicians are about. They're not doing their homework to see what laws they are about to pass. It takes a law 180 days talking about passing it to actually them passing it. You have 180 days to find out what's up. So that's 6 months. How many people know of any of the laws that their senators are passing until it's already a law? They'll tell you, oh, this law just got passed today. But 6 months ago, they were talking about it.
And a lot of people don't even know that this law, for instance, just got passed.
Right.
They don't even know.
And this is the problem. It's because they are not paying attention. They're not doing their homework. And I understand it may be very overwhelming, but if that's the case, then you can't complain. You can't say anything and say, oh, I can't, the government is too powerful. No, they work for you. Your governor works for you. Your tax money pays his salary. All of those people that hang up on you when you call the capital, Harrisburg or, Richmond, wherever you live, whatever the capital of your state is, Albany, Trenton, if you call and they're treating you like garbage, that person works for you. Would you accept that? If you would not accept that from a person that works at Walmart and they don't work for you, they work for Walmart. They don't have to respect you technically because they work for Walmart. They don't work for you. Those people actually work for you. Think that you can go up to anybody that works in the Pentagon and say, we need some more explanation of what you're doing with our money. They will lock you up like you're the criminal. What are you asking all these questions for? Who are you? What do you want? You go to a site somewhere and they will never talk about it because why? Obama passed the NDAA Act that says you don't even get a trial anymore if the government thinks for any reason that you are a problem or a threat, and they can assess you as a threat for any reason. You will disappear, and it is not illegal anymore that you don't have a trial and that you cannot contact anybody and that you don't get a lawyer. It's not illegal anymore. They've made that legal. But how many people care about that?
And that's Obama who passed that. But you know what?
Oh, well, it was Obama that passed the new version. It was Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld that did the first portion of that. And he just renewed it and put it on steroids.
I was going to say not to gloss over
difference.
that fact, but I like that you pointed out, because I didn't even think about it this way, but I like that you pointed out that basically Obama is to black people as, Trump is to the racist white people.
Yeah, to the racist.
They just like
exactly.
him because,
because he talks like
them,
and he looks like them, and yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I honestly didn't even think about that.
Next time you're talking, just ask an average black person, why do you like Obama? What did he do? They won't be able to. They'll tell you something like, it's just his spirit is so pure, and like they'll talk about something very whimsical. But if you ask them for actual tangible details, like, okay, what exactly did he do? Because he said he was going to end the war in Iraq. He said he was going to end the war in Afghanistan. He didn't do either. And he started bombing Syria before he left. So
one of our listeners said they're going to say it's because he's black.
You said there what?
Which isn't a reason to. They're going to say it's because he's black, which isn't a reason to like a president. Because imagine if somebody says,
even that is an assumption. That's an assumption. No one really knows if Obama considers himself a black man. Because have you ever heard him refer to himself as a black person? Have you ever heard Obama himself say, I'm a black man? He had a white mother, had a black father he never met, and he was raised by his white grandparents. So have you really ever heard Obama say, as a black man, I feel blah, 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 blah?
Well, I mean, I couldn't even, and I know you're not saying that in, a negative tone, and I'm clarifying this for our listeners, because you can't blame him. He's half white. He doesn't have to say I'm black.
If he did feel he was a black man, I understand why he wouldn't say it. But, again, these people, these zealots who want to believe like he is I don't even know, you have to really just be honest with yourself. He's a politician. He's going to say and act in any way that he needs to in order to get where he needs to go. But in the end of the day, as soon as he was out of college, what's his name? Henry Kissinger found him and started to mold him immediately for politics. And all of his patronage was coming from Wall Street. Goldman and Sachs was one of them, one of his biggest beneficiaries. So when he got in, there's no surprise to me that years later, when the housing crisis bubble exploded and started to destroy our economical equilibrium trenches and gave hundreds of billions of dollars to Wall Street for messing up money. So they gambled people's money, lost it, and they got money to act like it never happened, and they still gave themselves bonuses for the end of the year. That's not a shocker to me. But how many people would look at Obama like he's a stooge for Wall Street? None. Nobody would really think like that to say that's what he did. But that's what he did. And I don't think he's like an evil person. I just think that this is what politics has become because we allowed it to become this. There should be no way that a politician can get money from a corporation that is going to expect help or preferential treatment down the line if they do something. Like if BP gave some presidential candidate hundreds of millions of dollars to run for president, and they won. And then BP then spills 750,000 gallons of oil all over the Sioux watershed in Dakota. Somehow that president doesn't charge them what he normally would charge them with for cleanup, for a fine for being unsafe, and another fine, and then extra taxes, and then allow the federal courts to go after them for damages. And he just doesn't do any of that. He just says, well, this is crazy and this is ridiculous, and they'll pay for the cleanup, but nothing else. Is that a shocker? They paid for him to get into the office, so why would he then be hardline? This is why you can't allow corporate people to invest in presidential candidates of any type. And I don't care if it's senators, governors, judges, sheriffs, or whatever. You can't allow that kind of thing because that will breed corruption. But again, who's thinking on that level? People, when you start talking like that, people's eyes glaze over. Just like right now, we're losing listeners. They're clicking off right now because they don't want to hear this.
They just want to get to the juicy questions.
Yeah, they just, all right, look. Okay, my girl, she wants to tease out at a party and I don't like it. Let's get to that. This is not important. Let's talk about titties.
Yeah, I mean, and this is why this country is becoming the way it is. Reality TV, drama.
Well, it's not becoming. It's not becoming. It is. It's not changing. It will take some sort of collapse for it to hit a U-turn. If you look at all societies, Rome, Egypt, Greece, the Byzantine Empire, all of them, they've reached a certain level of corruption in the Senate, and the civil balance got to the point. Now, and I'm not trying to be a jerk for this. If you want to, anybody thinks that I'm being a jerk when I say this, read, what is her name? Camille Paglia is a university professor, and she wrote the same thing in her book. Every time women's rights get to the point where they're either overtaking or they're at the same level of the men or the masculine community that's built that nation, and then men start to become weaker than women, civilization collapse is imminent. That it happens every time.
I've actually heard that in a couple different texts.
I read that in
just
her
that
book.
One that you said. Yeah, I've actually heard that a couple different times, seriously.
And also, she goes the extra. She goes the. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say in the same text is either when women become equal or surpass, and when what do I want to say? The gay population explodes. Those are the two signs of collapse.
Well, hers didn't say the specifically gay population, but hers said when there is what did she say? A sexual androgyny that starts to occur because of the power shift, then doom is on the horizon for whatever culture and civilization that is. And she listed 11 of them. I can't remember all of them, but it was the same thing. And then I never thought about it because she was showing Tutankhamun, like he was at the end of the Egyptian era, and he had eyeliner on like a woman. Like it was like you would see earlier in the culture, you could definitely see a difference between men and women, even in the hieroglyphics. Later, you couldn't tell. You would have to actually read the name to figure out if it was a girl or a guy, because they just look the same. So it was interesting. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, me neither. Wow. But we've definitely probably, with the last comments, even though they came from books, we've probably lost listeners because, anytime you say anything that's not agreeing with the gay culture, you're gay bashing and you're homophobic. And I don't, that's another mentality I don't understand. Just, why can't you just speak your mind? I didn't say something like, oh, I hate gay people. reading from
that's,
books,
that's
and
a,
we're talking
that's
about past.
irrational. That's irrational, people. Don't take that to mean, every gay person or lesbian or whatever would be like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, if you're a rational person, you can listen to someone and can tell if they're really trying to take a shot at you or if they're just saying something that they think or don't understand or they have read. You know what I mean? Between hate speech and, everything else. So.
Yeah. All right. So I guess the people who stuck with us, thank you. You learned something. Maybe you can go and take this to your government or take this to your friends so then they can take this to the government, on and on and on, and maybe we can become a rising nation. I doubt it, but hey. But we will get to the questions now because I know everybody has been waiting for Ask Logic. All right, Mr. Logic, are you ready for your questions? I had to weed through the questions from, oh, my God, so many months, and I ended up writing down these questions because, like I said, they've all been in email, online, text, so I had to write down these questions so I'm not searching through anything. Are you ready for your questions?
Yeah, they're specifically for me, or they're just questions asked?
Specifically for you. Specifically for you. We just have never gotten to it. Are you ready? All right, so question number 1. Would you date someone with kids?
Okay. I guess they're talking about the figurative me, like, would you, if somebody has kids, then I think it's best for people with kids to date people with kids. Now, now you start to get into a different area if you're dating someone and you either can't have kids or you never got around to having kids and you know that it's not going to happen for you. Maybe you're, over the age of 50 and, you're back out there, place where you can deal with that, then yeah, it's not a problem. But me personally, I'm more of a selfish person when it comes to the time that I want with my significant other. And although I'm not immature enough to get an attitude with a kid for being a kid, but I would avoid the whole situation personally because I wouldn't want to deal with it. Yeah. But if she, was one of a kind and the kid was cool enough, because that's another thing people don't want to admit. Kids can be assholes.
How is the kid cool enough?
No, because some kids can be assholes. You know what I mean? Like some guy or girl might be cool. Their son or daughter is a dick. You know what I mean? And it's just something in them. It's the way that they've raised them. It might be the other person that they had the kid with is teaching this kid to be this way, but that can seriously derail your relationship, because that's like a person having a aggressive or an irritating dog. Like you like going over there, but the dog is, like, how long could you deal with that? You wouldn't be able to deal with it. You'd be like, look, I have to go. I can't stay here. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's different factors that play a part. But you have to, if you do decide to be with somebody with kids, bar none, across the board, you have to be mature and you cannot allow at all how you feel impact how you treat that person's children, because they don't deserve that. They're kids. They don't have any control over being there or what their parents did or didn't do, so that is not their fault. So if you don't like, her, or you don't like his baby's mom, then you need to go. And you need to talk to him and say, I love you, or talk to her and I love you, but I can't stand your ex, and it's going to start impacting the way I treat your kid, and I'm not going to do that. You got to be mature. If you can't handle it, walk. Don't destroy some kid's life because you don't know how to deal with your emotions.
I agree. Too many.
But before we leave that though, these people out here with kids, everybody don't need to meet your kids. Okay, you may have to talk to somebody and get to know them for a good 6 months to a year before they ever see your kid. They should never be able to come over or call or whatever. I mean, they can call, but you can't do that in front of your kid because you don't want to keep exposing your kid to new people every few months and it's not working out. You can't be selfish as a parent either because you are going to warp that kid's sense of relationships and bonding and everything because you don't know how to conduct yourself. So a lot of you girls and a lot of you guys need to stop allowing people to meet your kids and be around them and everything, and you're not even sure if this person is going to be there. That needs to stop. That disgusts me when I see that.
That absolutely needs to stop. Absolutely. But one of the things that you said, I don't know if I agree with, which is people with kids need to date people with kids. Oh, my God, no. I could never.
What are you talking about?
I know it's hypocritical, but I couldn't date somebody with kids just because I have
Listen,
a kid.
Don't try to candy coat the title. What that is selfish. You're a selfish person. So that's why you wouldn't want to be able to do it, even though you have a kid and you want that person to be
It's not that I'm selfish, it's that I don't like other people's children. And hold on. Let me plead my case. Number one, I don't like other people's children. Number two, it's going to be a guy. A guy, he more than likely, I would say 75% of the time, will not have full custody of his child. So I'm going to have to deal with a child that has just been fed all this crap by his mom, which usually is some crazy woman, and then he'll come to me on the summers or whatever to give me attitude and what? No, I can't do it. No.
Okay, but you're assuming that it's going to be like that, and you're expecting fully that people are not going to look at your kid and say, "Oh yeah, this kid is going to be this way. I can't do it," or whatever. You're selfish because you want people to be patient with your situation, but you have no patience with some other guy's situation. That's the selfish part.
But no, it's not, because I have my kid 100% of the time. So if another guy comes into my life,
you keep bringing that up, okay? But again, that bears no difference on the situation. If let's say he has joint custody, right? And he gets his kid Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So what? You going to give him attitude because the kid is over there on Friday all the way through the weekend? Or whatever? What difference does that make to how?
For that.
Okay, so what difference does it make to you?
My problem is if the kid is coming in and saying, "My mama told me don't call you,"
but you're
whatever.
Assuming.
I don't have to listen to you because you ain't my mama.
But you're assuming
I mean, I am
that's
assuming,
the situation.
But for me to find out that that's not what's going to happen, I would actually have to get into this relationship with a guy with a kid, and it's 50-50. You know, why would I even do that? I'll just
do you know what else is 50-50? You know what else is 50-50? Some bitter single mother raising her kids to not respect men. That's a common thing. Okay, but you're expecting some guy to look at you and say, "Well, she's probably being a wholesome mother and not teaching her kid to be that way." But you're automatically assuming.
Not necessarily, because if he even wants to talk to me, he's not going to meet my child first, and he's going to understand that I wouldn't. That's not how I think, so I wouldn't raise my child to be that way.
Okay, so what makes you think that you would be around him?
But just because I met him and I know that's, whatever, I like or don't like, that's what he embodies, doesn't mean that's what his kid is going to embody, because his ex-girl has the kid. So I don't know her. I would have to know him, know her, and then, okay.
What you're judging him on, it could easily also apply to you. He doesn't know if you have joint custody with your ex or not. He has to assume that this guy is still in the picture. He has to assume that, if he wants to give you the benefit of the doubt, that you're not an asshole, that you didn't raise your kid to be an asshole. And then you, obviously, if you're saying that, he wouldn't be meeting my kid if I just met him, the same could be possible for you meeting some guy that tells you hey, listen, just to let you know I got a son or a daughter, but it don't mean that you're going to meet him or her anytime soon. But you're already shutting him down immediately because you're assuming, oh, it's going to be a problem and blah, blah, blah. But you're expecting people not to shut you down and expect the best. You understand how arrogant that is?
I hear you. And I know most things people, wait, I understand that most thoughts I have, people tell me I'm arrogant. But I guess I'm just arrogant. I'm just going to have to stick or step. I understand what you're saying.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Good job. There's a lot of growth there.
All right, so next question. Should I still be friends with my ex?
Nope.
Just like that?
Next question. Yes, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in the world. What are y'all going to reminisce about? How you used to bang? What are you going to talk about? You got nothing in common. You're not friends. That was your ex, and it's not working anymore. As your ex dude or your ex girl, you have nothing in common.
But suppose y'all had like great conversation. You did have stuff in common, but it was just...
It does not matter. It's over. You or he or she decided to walk. So you decided that all of the rest of that stuff that comes along with that person is no longer an option in your life. Walk. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. People need to cut this out. It's bullshit. It's over.
Okay. All right. Third question. Why do you hate women so much?
Me? Me
yeah.
or is it people? I don't hate women. I just don't take their shit. I don't hate women. I'm not taking any of their bullshit. You know, if a woman says something stupid to me, I'm going to call her out for being full of shit, or she's saying something stupid. You know, I don't take any short. We've discussed this. The things that y'all say that I'm being too hard, when I turn it around and make it a guy saying this to you, you all say, oh, no, well, that's different. It's not different. Women say a lot of crazy shit, and they do a lot of crazy shit. So, no. Can't accept it. Sorry. I'm not in a place where I am so thankful for a woman to be around that I'm just going to allow her to. No. Chicks, it's not hard for me to get a girl, so I've just never been in a place to be so like, oh.
You're calling me arrogant?
No, it's not an arrogant. Listen, hold on. That's not an arrogant statement. That's like saying if somebody said, oh, my cousin Tony stole $75 from me. And then you say, all right, well, I got out of it cheap. For $75, I'll never see Tony and his thieving ass again. And it only cost me $75. And then somebody says, that's $75. That's a lot of money. Well, it's not hard for me to make money, so that $75 is not going to hurt me. Is that arrogant? No, you're just being honest that you'll make more money. So the $75 is not going to hurt you like somebody that's a bum in the streets that has no ability to make money. Me, it's not hard for me to get a girl. So I've never been in a place of hunger where, please don't go. Whatever I got to do to make this work. You know, just let's talk about it. Get out, pack your bags, kick rocks. If that's how you feel, go. But, so you just want me to go? You want you to go. I try to talk to you logically. You don't want to listen, so go. Find someone that will eat that whatever that you're selling. I'm not buying. Sorry, I'm just not into it. I'm not the type of person to take it. So they either go find it or they realize they can't and they call later and hi, and I delete the message. No, thank you. Beat it.
Damn.
Was thinking about you today? Sure you were. Delete, block. But I blocked this number already. You've never gotten an email from somebody you talked to like 2 years ago and, hey, thought you might like this.
Oh,
Who
God.
in the world who is this?
I've gotten messages from people that I haven't heard from in like 10 years.
I forgot all about that.
I got a phone call. I got a phone call from some guy. Oh my God, I hadn't talked to him in
Yeah.
8-9 years, and he
And you know what
found
that
my
was?
number and called me.
You know what that was? For 8 years, he was telling, I was like, I don't need Kai for nothing. I can find another one. 8 years went by and he didn't find another one. So now he's trying to use it whatever way. Hey, what's going on? Was watching Game of Thrones and I thought about you.
He's married, though. He's married.
What's your point? Is there a point?
That was my point. He's married.
No. There's plenty of dudes that marry a chick that they don't like. They outright don't like. But, you know, they get desperate. And like, oh, I gotta, you know, she got pregnant, so it's cheaper to keep her. You know, but in the whole time, while they're having sex with this girl, they're imagining, you know, Victoria from Cabo San Lucas. Oh, my gosh, she was so hot. Yeah. And then one day he sees her on, yeah. And one day he goes searching for her or, you know, on Instagram and Twitter. I wonder what she's doing. What does she look like or what does he look like? And they see your picture and, you know, maybe if I just click, hey.
But how disrespectful is that? Oh, I guess they don't care, huh?
They don't care. They don't care. What they're hoping is that you don't care either. Scumbags. Okay,
so next question. If you were elected president, what would be 3 policies that you implemented?
3 policies. I would shut down 2/3 of our bases abroad. I would end all military actions that we're involved in right now, bring all our troops home. And I would make it illegal for any person working for the state or federal government to accept money from corporations or any private entities. Then I'd probably die on Friday.
Well, I was going to say logic for president, but never mind then.
Yeah, I would do all
so
that
you would
Monday,
only be
Tuesday,
president
and Wednesday.
For like 5 days.
And I would die of some rare, unknown disease, heart disease that no one ever caught. It's such a rare thing. It's just weird that he.
Oh my God! Or like some freak car accident or something like that.
No, because I mean,
okay.
Me being the kind of guy, I would just never leave the White House. So what they would say is I had some kind of unknown cardiac problem that wasn't diagnosed. You know, he died. If it's any consolation to the American people, he went quickly in his sleep. Doctors say. Yeah.
No questions asked. Everybody will they'll hold a vigil for you, and that'd be it.
I got piano wired in the elevator.
Oh my God! Well, no logic for president then.
Oh, no.
Let's see. Okay, my ex is calling me, but he has had a girlfriend for 7 months now. Why is he calling me?
Oh, wait, pause. I'm sorry, pause. I would do the tariffs, taxes on the businesses. Well, go ahead. You're the ex did what now?
And so you'd be dead by Wednesday then, right?
Yeah.
It says my ex is calling me, but he has had a girlfriend for 7 months now. Why is he calling me, and what should I do?
Because
basically kind of what we just talked about.
Yeah, he wants you to be his jump-off whore, and he's hoping that you're desperate or your self-esteem is low enough to agree. And what you should do is block his number and block his email. And if he's on your Twitter and Instagram, block that. What you have to do is be honest with yourself. If you're trying to keep the window of options, see, we talked about this before, where you say, "Oh, sometimes you tell a man you're not interested, and he still persists." And I told you, if you scream to the top of your lungs in a parking lot, "Get out of my face, you creep! I'm not interested. If you keep talking to me, I'm going to call a cop." He'll never talk to you again. Never will talk to you again. But most women be like, "Oh, no, and I don't know." And just like this chick, that's your ex. He's married. How does he have access to get to you in the first place? You should have blocked his email, his Twitter, his Instagram, his Facebook, and whatever else they're using out there. You should have blocked his number. And anytime you see a text message, which should be blocked, delete it. Whatever he has to say, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk. Unless you have kids together, there is nothing for you to talk about with your ex at all if you're done.
And even with kids, the only thing you have to talk about are the kids.
Right.
You shouldn't
and
be
if you know the kid is with you, what's he calling for? If the kid is with you, then it can't be an emergency with your kid. Your kid's with you. Get to him in the AM. You know? And furthermore, if he wants to, this is another thing that you do. If he wants to, no, never mind. Chicks are not rational. Never mind. I was going to say call the house phone, but he could have some crazy, insecure chicken. Who this? That just had a So, yeah, just turn the phone off. I mean, delete it. If he shoots you a text message again, if he's a grown man and everything is supposed to be on the up and up, and you have kids, if you don't answer, he should leave a voicemail saying, "Hey, I need to talk to you about so and so." Whatever. Like, it has to be some kind of emergency, but if it's just, "Hey," delete it. What do you mean, hey? Hey is for horses.
What do you mean, hey? Get off my phone.
Yeah, just send them back an emoji of a horse. Hey, horse.
Oh, you heard it from Logic. Let's see. Is it okay to oh my God, this question here. All right. Is it okay to cheat on my boyfriend with my boss if it will get me the promotion of my dreams? This will help our relationship. Wait. This will help our relationship with more money, and I wouldn't need to rely on him for money anymore. P.S. I do love my boyfriend and don't want him to leave, or don't want to leave him. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
That was it.
So you're asking whether or not it's okay for you to be a prostitute because the money that you will make in your prostitution with your boss will give you more money, which in your mind, money and prostitution will make your relationship better.
Well, apparently one of our listeners at least, think this is a fake question, and you're asking me if this is a real question. I'm serious. This is a real question. I mean, I wrote it down, but it did really come from somebody.
Madam, you should acknowledge something to yourself and sit down with your dude and admit that you are a whore. And money is the currency of what your life is made of. And prostitution apparently is a option for you. So he needs to be able to make a decision. And if you respect and love him in any way, you should allow him to make the decision of whether or not he wants to share his life with a prostitute. I wish you lots of luck.
Okay.
Make sure you use the word prostitute. You have to say that. Because that's what you are, a prostitute.
Well, she's kind of getting offended that you said that because she's not a prostitute.
She can get offended. Listen, she can get offended all she wants. In the end of the day, if you exchange sexual acts for money or any kind of increase in lifestyle which requires money to achieve it, you're a prostitute. So, ask your dude if he is okay with building a life with a known prostitute. should probably change your name too.
Well, I know she's thinking of it as she's an independent woman, but my thing is, why would you have to use your body to get to the position you want to? Isn't that what women are fighting for now? To not have to use their body, or quote unquote, that's what feminism is about?
That's what they claim. But every time that they want to make a statement, they're pulling their titties out.
That's completely true. As with this question, no offense, listener, but that's completely true. You don't see guys saying, "Should I sleep my way to the top?" Well, respectable guys don't do that. If you want to get the promotion of your dreams, if it's not happening within this company, and first of all, this guy should be fired. Just first of all, you should have reported him to HR already, and then maybe you'll get the promotion because you'll get his spot. But
no.
Go ahead.
She's not going to report him because she wants to
You think she
make
likes
money
the
off
attention?
of this. It's not, even if she doesn't like the attention, she's a prostitute. She's not a respectable person, so she's going to use this situation because she's a prostitute. She's using this situation to get by in life. That's what she is. So she's not going to report a John that works in her office where she can use this John for money. She's going to continue to use this in order to move in life. And it's the same thing for, like you said, if a man does it, he's a prostitute. What is he going to do? Get some self-respect in the 25th hour? No. Prostitutes are whores. And that's what whores do. They lie. I don't understand what you're laughing at.
Okay. Because it's okay. So apparently, ma'am, you're a prostitute and you need to fix your life. So, next question. How can my husband and I resolve our disagreement about having kids? I'm ready and he's not. P.S. I'm older, he's younger.
Well, that means nothing. He could be 50 and you can be 70. What does that mean?
That's all I have.
All right. Let's assume he's probably maybe in his mid to late 20s. She might be in her mid to late 40s, or maybe late 30s, early 40s. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, here's what you do know. If he's not ready for a kid and you have one, then he's going to resent you. And that resentment could come out in the way that he deals with the kid. And it's still not a known thing that he's going to stick with you anyway. So you could be dooming this child to live the same life that all of the rest of these lost kids out here live because their father's not around and there's a destructive situation between the two parents and they're not getting along, and then all of that aggression and hatred and frustration starts to come out in other ways, and that kid, and this is a known thing with child psychology, for some reason kids automatically assume that it's their fault, anything that's going on in the house. It doesn't matter if
why.
You're freaking, I don't know, it's just a thing with kids' minds, the way that they, well, because kids are naturally narcissistic. They think that everything revolves around them because they have no other frame of reference. Their mind hasn't developed enough to know that, yeah. So even if you're just stressing out about bills, like kids will think that has to do with them and they're the problem. You know, so this is another reason I tell people you got to stop talking about money in front of your kids. Like, don't introduce that into their world. I ain't got that kind of money. Shut up. Just say no, and we'll do it some other time. Stop talking about money. I hate when I hear adults do that around kids. I got that. You got beach money? Just say you can't go to the beach. Dang, it's just that simple. Because I said so. That's a reason enough for a kid to drop the subject. No, if you're at a point where you want to have a kid, and he doesn't, and that's more important to you than this relationship with him, and that doesn't make you a bad person, because being a mother could be something that you've always wanted, and, you know, no one has the right to take something from you that you always wanted in your life, so you may have to move on. If it's a thing of he doesn't want kids because of a certain situation, like I want to have more money. That's like a lot of guys I know and that I would call colleagues. That's usually their reason. It's not the fact that they don't like kids. It's the fact that they don't want their kids to struggle like they struggled when they were young.
But it doesn't seem like he doesn't want kids. It seems like he's just not ready yet because it says I'm ready and he's not.
Okay, well then you might have to be patient there, toots. Make a decision. If you don't want to be, then again, move on to a guy that's like, yeah, you want to have kids? No doubt. I'm ready when you are. That could be a problem for you down the line, but you have to weigh what's more important to you. If this dude is sitting down and telling you, yes, I love you, it's just right now, right at this moment, I'm not ready for kids. You may, if you got the money, freeze your eggs and get him to freeze some of his sperm, and when y'all ready, see what your options are. If it's a thing about you want to have a healthy kid, you don't want to wait too long to where it's going to be a problem. You gotta make it work. But if you really don't care and it's just about you want a child to rip its way out of your abdomen and you want to raise it, then go find some guys. Plenty of guys out there.
Good God, really, Logic?
No, listen, that's what it is. Okay? Most of these girls really don't care about who's providing the sperm. A lot of these women I just want a baby. So if raising a good human being is not important to you, with a foundation of family, love, trust, and contentment where that person will more than likely have a better chance of growing up without a lot of psychological, you may have to wait. If you know you have a good man in your life or you know you have a good woman, you may have to move things around and make sure that situation works. But if you don't care and you just want a child that is of your blood and that's it, that's all you're concerned about, then there's plenty of sperm donors out there that will not charge you. They'll just, you tell them where to show up and they'll drop one in you. So, the world is yours, your girl.
Obviously. Hey, we do have a caller. Let me bring them on. Caller, and then in 6696, you're on.
Hello. Listen, can you please repeat that last question? The one before this one, please. I have to hear that one more time so I can respond to this in the correct way.
Oh, she's talking about the prostitute one.
Okay. All right. Is it okay to cheat on my boyfriend with my boss if it will get me the promotion of my dreams? This will help our relationship with more money, and I wouldn't need to rely on him for money anymore. P.S. I do love my boyfriend and don't want to leave him.
Oh, my God.
Also, truly, I believe that some people just write in just so you can read their question because this cannot be real. And then the fact that she had the audacity to ask Logic out of all the people on the panel to ask. Okay.
Well, that's what she wanted to do.
She wants to sleep with her boss anyway. It has nothing to do with the promotion. And if her boss told her that sleeping with him would get her a promotion, I agree with you. This is something that she should take up HR. But like Logic said, she wants to sleep with this man anyway. And the boyfriend, no. I just can't even believe she actually asked that question. You are a hoe. Right. It has nothing to do with you getting a promotion. Okay. He gonna give you this promotion. Then what? Another promotion gonna come up? Who you gonna have to sleep with then? Like that was crazy.
I mean, I was laughing when I saw that question, but not that I laugh at my listeners' questions. So keep sending your questions in. It's just this question was funny to me personally.
I mean,
anyway.
Just sleep with the man. If you want to sleep with your boss, just sleep with your boss. Don't use it as an excuse and then turn around and say, P.S., I really love my boyfriend. No, you don't.
There's no way
that's almost an admission of guilt.
Somebody else.
I can't. Okay.
I mean,
that was. I just couldn't understand that.
I was saying that there's no way that you could love your dude and then sleep with somebody else. There's absolutely no way. I don't
for
know.
more
Just me
money.
personally.
Go get another job. Go get a better job. Take on 2 or 3 jobs. I mean something, but sleeping with your
And that's
boss
what I was
is not.
saying. If you want that job of your dreams, then you may have to apply at a different company to get this position of your dreams.
I mean, 'cause she's using your skills to a whole nother level. So I'm just
All
saying.
right. So let me go to the next question. Caller, you're basically our resident co-host. Do you want to stay on, or you want me to put you back to listen?
Sure, I'll stay on because this is interesting.
All right, so next question. Logic. Should I feel guilty for wanting to leave my girl since I promised her forever? She hasn't done anything really. I just don't feel like being tied down anymore.
What's his question? Should he leave or stay? Is that what he's asking?
Should I feel guilty for wanting to leave my girlfriend since I did promise her forever? She hasn't done anything. I just don't feel like being tied down anymore.
Should he feel guilty? Yeah, if you said something that you're not going to do, there is a fair amount of guilt in that. It's not wrong for you to feel guilty. It is wrong for you to stay in a relationship where you don't have feelings for that person anymore. So you should go. I mean, you might have to just bite the bullet and, get you like you're an asshole, but you have to go. What else are you going to do? Sit there and lie to her for the rest of her life? Because she's going to continue to build in her mind and build.
That's like a jackass reason to want to be out of a relationship. She didn't do anything. She hasn't cheated. She hasn't done anything.
It doesn't matter. You're getting caught up. You're getting caught up right now in the details of it. Is it foul that this woman gave her all to this guy and yes, he's a scumbag. No one's saying that he isn't, because he lied to her. Or he was that emotionally unhinged that he didn't know whether or not he really felt deeply for her or not. I don't know which is more disappointing. But in the end of the day, what the wrong move would be is to continue to allow her to build on this idea that they're going to be together, and he knows that he's already in his mind checked out. He has to go. And allow her the dignity and the time to get over him and not waste any more time in her life.
So how should he break up with her? Like, should he do the "it's not you, it's me"?
No. Again, don't be brutal, because you are talking about people's emotions, and people have a very cynical way of looking at stuff where they, just get over it or whatever. And I always use the analogy of, people don't respect emotions because you can't see them. If somebody was burned in a fire severely, and then you invited that person to a barbecue where it's an open flame and they're like freaking out, you wouldn't say, what is wrong with you? Just get over it, okay? It's just fire. Because you can see that they were burned, and people would be like, yeah, I understand this person being whatever. So when somebody's emotionally hurt, you can't just sit there and be like, just get over it. It happens or whatever. No. Those emotional pains can be worse than physical pain sometimes. So you have to take care and understand what you're about to do is you're about to break this girl's heart. So don't be a jerk and you're talking to some other chick right now, and then you're going to tell her, listen, I'm out of here and I got to go, and it's not you, it's me. But then you're going to be all over Instagram with selfies with some other chick. Like, you gotta be considerate. You know what I mean? Or block it or whatever you do, but just don't be raw and, uncaring about it. Explain to her what it is.
Okay.
You lost it and you don't know what went wrong, but it's not her, and you think that you might have spoke out of turn, whatever the case may be. But don't just be like, hey, look, gotta go, deal with it. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so we have 10 minutes left, and we have 7 questions still. Let's see.
Power through them.
How many times? Oh my God, I forgot about this question. How many times should I let my boyfriend hit me and then apologize until I leave him?
What?
0. I mean,
Yeah,
unless
if he
he's
hits you that
unless
first time,
he's
that's your indication
apologizing.
to leave him.
Unless he's apologizing because he really didn't see you there. Like if he's stretching and you catch an elbow to the nose, like boom. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is ridiculous, and I'm calling the cop. Whoa, whoa. I didn't see you. But if he's, if he's getting mad and giving you lunch money shots in the kitchen, and you're, waking up 20 minutes later, I'm sorry, baby. I don't know. I just gotta get a hold of it. Get out now.
Like now, it's never okay. Well, I don't want to say it's never okay for a guy to hit you. If you're antagonizing, then I completely believe whatever.
Oh no, there are
hitting
several
him, he should hit you
reasons
back.
to pace the chick. Several reasons, but they're just not common. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. If he's just hitting you because he had a bad day at work, you didn't antagonize him, you didn't hit him first or anything like that, then the first time he hits you or even gives the indication that he's going to hit you, that is your...
No. Even antagonizing. I mean, again, even if she's in his face, there's no reason for him to just cock back and plaster her. Now if she puts her hands on him and she's pushing him, smacking him, or does the classic that will get you thrown down a flight of stairs, which is pointing into a person's forehead, that's assault.
Yeah.
That will get you mugged up against the wall.
But I did that one time. I did it one
time. You should have got punched right in the bridge of your nose. You have no right to do that with anybody.
There was no. He shouldn't have punched me. He should have done exactly what he did, which was just grab me and warn me not to do it again. He punched me because I pointed in his head and break a table over his head. Are you serious?
No, let's see what you're doing right now is you're thinking.
He would have gone to bed that
night,
and I would have been making cream of wheat while he was going to sleep.
Look,
and he'd been like, "What you doing?" "Oh, I'm just making cream of wheat. Go to sleep. I'll pour that cream of wheat on me."
You're out of pocket right now. You had no right.
I'm not out of pocket.
That's assault. So if he decided to pick you up by your neck,
I understand I had no right to do it, and like I said, he handled it correctly.
There is no justifying. No. See, this is where you women go wrong. You cannot sit here and say, "Well, I only did this, so he should have only did that." If you don't know who you're dealing with, you don't know what kind of rational system that a dude is messing with. So if you would not walk up to a dog and point in the dog's face, not knowing if that dog is going to maul you to death, you shouldn't do that to a person. If he didn't do anything physical to you, you don't do anything physical to him. Okay? So if you point at somebody in his forehead... Go ahead. Let me listen to you.
I was going to say I completely just... A screw was loose at that point. It had gotten me to the point of that because I normally don't touch
it. Doesn't. No. Okay.
I understand what you're saying, Logic.
What you're saying doesn't make sense though, because you want a dude to be in control, and it doesn't matter how emotional he gets. So if a man doesn't have any right, no matter how you're screaming at him or how you're talking to him, he has no right to just walk across the room and smack you because he doesn't like what you're saying or how you're saying it. Then you have no right to take it to a physical level because you don't like the way he's acting. That's only fair.
And I agree.
Okay, so what are we talking about here?
I agree, but what I don't agree with is if I just poked you, you're going to use all your man strength now to punch the shit out of me?
Yes, if I feel so inclined. If I was at that level or whatever, yes. You're not going to catch a break from me because I'm going to treat you like I treat anybody that put their hands on me. Okay? There's been guys that have been smaller than me, shorter or whatever, that disrespect me like they're 6'5". You know what I mean? Now, I'm not going to take it easy on this dude because he's short. I'm not going to sit there and, whoa, he's a short man, and logically I, at least have 5 inches on him. So I'm going to punch him right in his throat like I would do any other taller guy that's in my face being an antagonist. You're taking it to a physical level. I'm going to finish it. Now, do I think every guy should be suplexing a chick into a coffee table? No. But if you don't want to run that risk, don't go physical if nothing physical happened to you. control yourself on both sides, men and women. Don't go physical. You can argue all you want, but don't put your hands on nobody, period. If that was a cop you did that to, he would have been able to crack you right in your head with a nightstick.
Okay. Well, let me ask one more question, and then I promise, on the next show, we'll get to these questions first before we discuss the other. Before I get to the last question, the other topic for the next show is going to be talking about double standards. So last show, Shar mentioned that we were talking about if you found out your person was transgender. So Shar mentioned that it's okay for a woman if she finds out that her dude was actually a woman, and it's not okay for a guy if he finds out his woman was actually a dude. So we're going to be discussing that next show. Shar will be back, and we'll be discussing that next show. Before we get into that, we will finish these questions because I'm going to ask this last question here, and then after that, we're going to have 5 questions to answer. So we'll answer these 5 questions first.
Oh, my God.
And then we'll go into Shar's. Shut up! All right. Do you prefer a traditional marriage where the man works and the woman takes care of home and family, or do you believe in equality in your marriage?
I believe in equality, but I don't mind it as long as, you're not demanding it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a woman, and look, you better get out there and get a job. Go cut the grass or something.
So if she says she wants to stay home with the kids, you're going to have an issue? Like, if she's saying that's what I want to do,
listen, if we talked about it, I'm not going to knock her for it. If I agree to it, I agree to it. But if she has this attitude like, you're supposed to provide the blah, 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 and, and you got to get me a ring, and you have to get, wait a minute, what are you going to be doing around here while I'm doing all that? Well, I go get a job, bum.
What does Shar say she provides? She provides the ideas. What was that?
Noise.
What was that?
She provides noise. That's what she provides.
She said she provided the ideas and he providided the money or something like I can't even remember. But Shar said she was a big part of the relationship. Yeah, support something. Anyways, so you don't mind a traditional marriage where the wife stays home and takes care of the home and family. Now, what if she stays home to take care of the home and family, and we only have 90 seconds left? What if she stays home to take care of home and family, but she's really not doing a good job at it, meaning you come home and sometimes you have dinner, sometimes you don't. You still have to buy lunch, and the kids are, like, making C's in school.
Well, then guess what? Then sometimes when I go to work, I'm going to take them car keys with me, and she ain't going nowhere until she understands this is a give-and-take relationship. You do it. You don't get.
So you're going to punish her, essentially.
Absolutely.
What? Isn't that
this is supposed. No, this isn't even exchange. You want me to work and provide all of this. You're supposed to be providing something for me. If you're not doing it, then this is not an even exchange. And if you do it long enough, you got to go. There's the door. Pack your stuff. We talked about this. Get out.
Is she taking the kids or you're keeping the kids?
I would never have kids with a chick that I wasn't sure about in the first place. So, it wouldn't happen. But if there's kids involved, then it will be a stringent prenup that she signed regardless. I don't care if I trusted her or not. You're signing papers. You're leaving with that trash bag you came with.
All right, so we have 10 seconds left. Thank you for joining us. The Ask Logic show will continue next week right here on No Conduct Radio. Peace out, everyone.
Bye.
Adios.